All right, friends, welcome back to another episode of the Overshare Hour. How you doing today, Kens?
Doing good. It's Sunday. I got a lot of sleep because Luca and I stayed up and partied last night, just the two of us playing a game. And yeah, so we slept in, and that feels good because we never get to do
Love
that.
that.
Yeah, we haven't
Man,
had a weekend. We've had the kids all of October, and we're going to have them most of November. And so this was like our one weekend to kind of have some quality time for those 2 months. And so we did it, and it was fun.
no way.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
It's been
that's so
great having them. It's been amazing having the girls so much, but we just wanted to be like intentional with our reconnecting time.
that's awesome. What game
Yeah.
did you play?
We played the 5 love languages card game. So we actually went to Walmart and we were looking for something to play and found it. And basically, like, you have all of the cards coincide with one of the 5 love languages. So it's physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, gifts, and quality time. And you lay the tiles that have those love languages in the middle between you. And basically, you go through the cards, read them, talk about them, and then you decide which ones are important to either of you. If it's important to one of you, then you take the card. If it's important to both of you, then you put it on the tile between the two of you. And you can only collect 6 cards, like, yourself individually. So you have to like be really sure that it's like the one you want. And then at the end of the game, they give you an option to continue the game throughout the week. So they have these gold cards that you get 5 of them. So one for each of the love languages. And you basically throughout the week, like say if I have like a lot of dishes in the sink and I don't want to do them that day, or it would like mean a lot to me if Luca did them, which he's amazing at regardless, but I would take that card and like put it next to the sink and I don't have to like say anything. It's basically just like, here's the thing that you could do for me, the act of service. And if he was like wanting quality time, then he could like take it and put it next to a game, like on top of a game, or, by the television if he wanted to watch a movie. And so it's a way for us to connect, kind of like little Easter eggs, I guess, throughout
That's
the
so
house.
cute.
Yeah. So we decided last night that we're going to do that the weeks that during the month that we don't have the kids, we're going to do the gold cards throughout that week and just try to like stay connected throughout the week.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
That makes me want to go buy it.
You should.
You'll
It
have to
actually
tell
is.
me.
Yeah, I'm actually going to probably do a video of it on TikTok because we loved it so much. We're like, it's cool that it doesn't end there, that there's like something we can look forward to throughout the week too.
That's awesome. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
Yeah.
that's
How about
good.
you? How are you doing?
Oh, I didn't get a lot of sleep. It was quite the night last night. Indy was barking up a storm, and I am having a little bit of trouble just with the anxiety of bothering the neighbors
Ah.
because she will whine because she wants attention. She has a lot of separation anxiety. So
Oh.
she'll like whine kind of quietly, even if we're not in the room. But like at night, we're trying to crate train her. So she will just like wail and bark. And it was 1 in the morning probably, and she was barking so loud. And I'm like, our neighbors must hate us. But they say the worst thing you can do is go to her at that point because it teaches her that she gets what she wants. So it
Yeah.
was just a lot because we're like, stay strong, stay strong. And I'm also like, I hope my neighbors don't hate me. But I mean, we have to do this so that
Mhm.
in the future, she won't bark forever. So
Yeah.
she barked for about 10 minutes and then she stopped. So,
Hey, that's not bad. I was thinking you were
yeah,
going to say like this was all night. If I was your neighbor and your puppy was barking for 10 minutes, I would be totally understanding.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it felt like forever and it was like
Yeah.
10 minutes a long stretch, but also she was barking, when we were brushing our teeth and stuff like that because she knows the time is coming. And yeah, so there was that. Didn't sleep a lot. Went to the
No.
Paul McCartney concert last night.
How was that?
Okay, I'll tell a quick story time because it wasn't going to
Okay.
be my overshare. But yeah, basically went to the Paul McCartney concert thinking that this is going to be the best thing ever because
Yeah.
Bran is obsessed with the Beatles. He had me listen through all of the albums when we first started dating. And unfortunately, the people behind us were very mad that Brandon was standing. And he was not the only person standing. I mean, like,
At a
every
concert.
at a concert, like everybody was standing on the floor,
Mhm.
which is to be expected, but also in the stands. I mean, It was very sprinkled about. A good amount of people were sitting, but there were people standing, and I'd say there were probably about 15 other people in our section who were also standing, but these people were screaming at us and harassing us, and that was rough. So I went and talked to guest services to see if they could move us to a different section. I didn't stand up the entire concert because I was so afraid of, yeah, them being mad, and it just really took away from the experience. Bran, he did end up sitting for some of the songs, but then he did
Yeah.
get back up and stand. But Bran is the type, like, he's a musician. Like, he
Mhm.
cannot fathom a world where you would go to a concert and you're sitting down. Like,
Yeah.
it's so opposite of who he is. So and I was fine with that. I told him, "Stand if you wanna stand, I'm
Yeah.
not asking you to sit because I just think it's silly." I mean, if people wanna sit down, totally. I
Yeah.
mean, I also sit down during some songs just to get rest and stuff, but I feel like to demand other people around you also sit down is kinda crazy, especially when it first started, everybody was standing, and
Yeah.
then during some of the popular songs, people would stand, and then at the end, everybody stood for the last, like, 5 or 6 songs, so it's like we're only allowed to stand if everybody in the group also decides that we're allowed to stand. Yeah, but guest services said, "No, you're good to stand," but they refused to move us, so it was rough. It was a rough concert, probably one of the worst concert experiences I've had, which is so disappointing.
Yeah, because it's Paul.
I know, we were so excited, and Brand still had a great time because honestly,
Good.
he didn't hear the people yelling at him for a large portion of it.
Mhm.
I unfortunately, like, heard all of it, and it was a lot.
You know what? I would actually love that sucks so much. I'm personally on your side of this that people should be able to stand for concerts. I think it's wild that you would try to police that. However, I know that there are a lot of people, like the people who are yelling, that don't feel that way. So I would actually like to know, like listeners, write in, like message us or something or comment on the podcast on this episode and just tell us what you think about that because I think people should be able to stand during concerts. We all bought tickets. You're there to see your favorite artist or whatever, like, you should be able to stand and dance and sing, like, I feel like that's the point. But
Yeah,
I've been in a situation like that where it wasn't me personally, but I had a friend who they were heckling her because she was dancing. She wasn't dancing crazy, but she was, like, just, like, grooving to the music, standing up, and I was like, "Okay, well, she's at a concert. That's kinda what you do here." I think that's crazy.
I know. I did just make a TikTok and I posted it to ask people's
Oh,
opinion on what they
yeah.
thought.
What did they think?
I think there's, like, around 30 comments right now, maybe 4 or 5 said sit.
Mm.
Said, like, "Hey, not everybody wants to stand, be nice, read the room." But the majority of them were like, "No, absolutely not. You paid for your ticket. You're allowed to stand." So, I don't know. There
Yeah.
definitely are some people who do think that you should sit, but it's just crazy because 'cause I'm like, "This is Paul McCartney, the
Yeah.
Beatles," It's like you want to, like, dance and, he
Yeah.
wasn't being crazy. He was in his little corner
Yeah.
and he wasn't getting in anybody else's space, so it was just a lot. So
I'm
we had
sorry.
that and then came home and then Indy was barking, but she is just the sweetest girl. I'm obsessed. My
No.
overshare moment is actually going to be about her and a medical emergency that we had this
No.
weekend. So it's been
But
a
she's
weekend.
okay.
We think so.
Okay.
I'll let you know, but
Okay, okay.
yeah.
Alright, well,
Well,
let's get into it so that we can get there because I'm, like, anxious to know. Guys, I really don't know what happened. Like,
yeah,
I know
I
you
didn't
might think
tell
I know.
anybody.
I really don't know, so I wanna know.
I was stressed about it, so I'm like, I didn't even tell anybody that it happened. But yes, let's jump into the first one. And also, we are not therapists. Your daily reminder that we didn't go to school for that. So take all of this with a grain of salt. Okay.
Yes, please, love you. Okay.
All right. I need opinions. How would you guys feel about finding a GPS tracker in your car completely unbeknownst to you and not even by your partner, but by your ex who's been stalking and harassing you for months? Whether you're doing anything wrong or not, it doesn't feel justified. I feel completely violated, wrong, and that it is not the right thing to do that to somebody. It's bringing me to feel uneasy, always looking over my shoulder and questioning if there is another one or if there will be, and never feeling completely alone. I think it's wrong no matter what the situation is, but I don't know. Am I overreacting?
No.
We are underreacting.
We are underreacting. Yes. What do you mean that you have a GPS tracker in your car because your ex put it there? Whoever has made you feel crazy in the past for any type of alarm that you've experienced or making you feel dramatic, because that's kind of what I'm hearing. You're like me, dude. You're like me, where you're like, I'm crazy. This isn't a big deal. And it's like a huge freaking deal. This is a huge deal. You are not overreacting. No one should ever be tracking your vehicle. You're right. It doesn't matter what situation, who it is. I mean, it is illegal to put a GPS tracker on someone's vehicle without them knowing. This is absolutely insane. I don't know what the advice is. I mean, like, are you asking for advice? I would say call the police, like, immediately. Remove the GPS tracker, call the police, tell them that it's your ex. I guess my question is, did did you, like, talk to your ex and they told you they did it? Or, like, how do they know that it was the ex? Just because the ex is the obvious choice?
I have a feeling that maybe she confronted him and she knows that it's
Yeah.
the ex. Police, right away.
Yeah.
I would get a protective order
Yeah.
immediately because that is so scary. And also, it's not even, here's another reason why. And for all we know, maybe you do have a protective order. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you said that your ex has been stalking and harassing you for months. So this is just another way of him tracking you. Yeah, police, you are not overreacting. That
No.
is very creepy. At the bare minimum, he just wants to know all of your business and has control issues. But I mean, it could be something scary. So I would definitely try to get something legal saying that he cannot contact you or follow
Yeah.
you. But no, you are not overreacting. I would be freaking out if I found out that Ted put a tracker on my car.
Can you imagine?
No, I cannot imagine. So we send all of our love to you. That is so scary. And it actually reminded me, Ken's, you are not so familiar with the Bachelor Nation world,
No, I'm
but
not.
people who are tuned in to Bachelor Nation, you know exactly what I'm about to say. So I used to love watching The Bachelor,
Mhm.
and it's kind of fallen off in the last few years. I haven't watched it or Bachelor in Paradise or anything like that. But there was this bachelor named Colton Underwood, and his whole thing, I think, was that he was a virgin. He was like, I'm a virgin and I'm looking for the one. I've been saving myself. And he was like a football player. And he fell for this girl, Cassie, and he ended up picking her. And it was so dramatic. At one point, she tried to self eliminate and he jumped over a fence and like went into the night in a foreign country. Like he lost his marbles over this. So that was like the
Kinda weird.
climax of that season was that he was already kind of losing it when he thought that he wasn't going to get to be with Cassie. So anyway, they end up breaking up in real life because she did end up coming back. They got together, they ended up breaking up, and he put a tracker on her car and was stalking her. And this is
What?
like The Bachelor. The Bachelor did this. And
What?
yeah, it all came out that he had put a tracker on her car and he was like following her and he just
Ew.
believed that he was allowed to do this because I don't
Because
know.
he loved her.
He loved her. I think he thought like she's the one. So it's kind of like an ownership type of thing. Like
Yeah.
I think that he felt fully justified in
Mhm.
putting a tracker on her car because he was thinking it's us. We're
I chose
endgame.
you. I
I
chose
chose
you.
you.
What do you mean? You belong to
You
me.
don't love me? So that was
Oh
just
my god.
absolutely crazy. And I'm curious. Okay, this might get controversial. I really
Okay.
want your opinion on this, Kens, because I've never talked to you about it. He ended up, and this was a huge deal, it ended up coming out that he is gay.
Mind
Did you
blown.
not know this?
Mind blown. What do you mean he's gay? What do
Yeah,
you mean? Okay,
this is
what?
so crazy. So, yeah, it ended up coming out after the whole Cassie situation. He had like stalked her. He ended up coming out, and it came out that the reason he was a virgin was because he was gay. And that's
It
why.
wasn't that
And
hard.
he said he like really hid behind his faith as a reason for why. And it is kind of sad. Like I've heard him in interviews, and this
Uh-huh.
is where it gets controversial. He still has a platform because he wrote a book and he said that the reason why he was so extreme about Cassie is that he was like kind of attracted to her, and in his mind this is the girl. This
The
is
one
the
only
only
one in
girl
the
that
whole
like
world.
maybe I would like. So and he said part of the reason he did The Bachelor was one kind of like for fame, but
Yeah.
also he was thinking if I can't find a girl that I'm attracted to on The Bachelor, then we have a problem because these girls are so
Houston,
gorgeous.
we have a problem.
Houston, we have a problem. So in his mind, losing Cassie was losing his final hope
Right.
at being straight
Right.
and, being a good Christian. So he admits he like totally lost his marbles. And then it's crazy though. He has been on podcasts of people that I know, which is crazy since then. And I don't really know. Like, I mean, he kind of has like a heartwarming redemption arc. He got married to a man and they have a son. And don't get me wrong. Well, actually, no. Tell me what you think about this before I give my thoughts on Colton Underwood, because
Okay.
there's a lot of mixed thoughts about him.
Okay. So before you even told me like that he wrote a book and all of the things, the second you told me that he's gay, I thought all of the things that you told me were going to be true. Like I already was like, okay, well then that's why he's a virgin. That's why he wanted to be on The Bachelor. That's why he lost his freaking mind because he's like, no, I have to marry you. You don't understand. Like, and I have to. Because I was like, he must be a Christian. Obviously, he was saying he was a virgin and was looking for the one. So I was just like, of course he's going through a psychosis because he's gay and he's trying to process, that and trying to not be gay. Do I think that that is an excuse for putting a GPS tracker on someone's car? No, I don't. And I don't know this guy. I've never read his book. I've never seen his face as far as I know, right? I've never listened to any of his podcasts. So maybe if I heard his story from his point of view in his own voice, like it would like elicit some sort of like empathy toward him, or maybe I would feel differently. I feel a little bit kind of like harsh toward the situation because I feel like stalking is wild as fuck. Like that's freaking crazy. And I have experienced religious psychosis. I've done a lot of crazy things in my life because of being, I guess, a Christian, a crazy Christian, not just a Christian, like a crazy Christian and having religious psychosis. So I do think that he should be like forgiven to an extent. He should be able to like go have a life, and like I'm glad he has a husband and that he's happy. But that doesn't take away from the fact that like stalking is insane, right? I don't know.
Yeah. No,
I
I
mean, I
agree.
don't know. I think like that's crazy.
Yeah. It's interesting because he was on a podcast of somebody that I know who's like a deconstruction
Uh
podcast,
huh.
and I listened to the episode because I was curious, like
Yeah.
what he would have to say. But yeah, the way I feel about Colton, sorry, this is like the craziest spin-off of a conversation. But when I read your submission, I just immediately thought of Cassie in the tracker on her car.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I have weird feelings about him because I feel that, yes, to some degree, he should be forgiven. He's like very much apologized and he
Yeah.
knows that it's wrong. And I do understand. I really think he was going through something so severe that
Yeah.
it led him to make horrible decisions.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, Cassie never has to forgive him, and I never have to think he's a safe person.
Yeah.
Like, I personally, I'm not like, let's go be friends, and I think that you're never capable of doing something like that ever again. Like, it definitely does, like, color the way I see
Mhm.
him. But I can have a level of empathy, but Cassie is fully entitled to all of the feelings that she has about
Yeah.
being stalked because that is so scary. Can't even imagine. But
Yeah.
yeah, no,
I would say, like, okay, if this guy had just, like, blown up her phone 5,000,000 times and, like, wouldn't leave her alone and was just, like,
which
desperately
he did.
trying, I would say, like, okay, like, you can forgive him, and he can just be like, "Yeah, I'm sorry that I was crazy, I was, like, desperately," but to go as far as to put a GPS tracker on someone's car and make them feel physically unsafe in their lives, I think that that's, like, where the boundary is crossed for me. Like, being, quote, unquote, "a crazy ex" and, like, being overly emotional and, like, just calling and crying and, I'm like, "Okay, understandable, people lose their minds and break up sometimes," but that's, like, it's not the same thing as, like, showing up at their work unannounced and, like or wherever they are. That's weird.
I agree. Yeah. Very weird. Not okay.
You're not
Uh,
overreacting, basically.
and I have a lot of empathy for Cassie. Throughout the years, I've I put myself in her shoes and I think, how would I feel knowing that everybody has fully embraced him and been like, "Oh, it's fine
Mm.
because he was gay." Like, I that really is how a lot of people have treated it, like, "Oh, it all makes sense now," and man, if Ted came out
Yeah.
and was like, "I was gay, that's why I strangled Juby," and everybody hugged
It's
him,
like,
I'd be like,
"Oh."
Excuse me?" You
Yeah,
know?
valid.
I would not feel that way, and domestic violence is a very big deal, and that is a form of, stalking and making her feel unsafe. So, no, you are not overreacting. Please contact the police. I highly recommend maybe even calling the domestic violence hotline, seeing what resources or legal advice they would have for
Yes.
you in this situation.
Beautiful advice. And I also noticed that you said in the beginning, like, "This isn't even my partner, it's my ex." It doesn't matter who it is.
Yes,
No one should ever be stalking you. No
I
one
agree.
should ever put a GPS tracker on your car just in case we need to drive that home. It does not matter who it is. It's not okay.
Yeah,
Call the police.
call the police. All right, you ready for the next one?
This one says, "Hi, besties. Hey,
Hi.
love ya. I have a question that's more for Jubilee. I have just been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I know you once had it. My experience with it has been zaps at random points in my body, chronic exhaustion, debilitation, dizziness, and just overall pain. I wrote in a few months ago about trauma that I endured as a teenager, and I was wondering what you knew about trauma's impact on fibromyalgia. Do you have any advice for someone just diagnosed with this? My doctor is deciding on possible medication, but right now I am suffering. What do you think?"
Whew. Fibromyalgia is one of well, there's so many conditions, so I guess I can't say it's one of the worst, but it feels like death.
Mhm.
When I had fibromyalgia, it was one of the most debilitating experiences. I could not walk around the grocery store for more than 10 minutes
Yep,
without needing to sit down. And Ken's, I
I
was
remember.
just not okay. I saw so many specialists trying to figure out what was going wrong. So I ended up getting diagnosed with fibromyalgia, chronic pain syndrome. And I think that's it. But I was tested for so many things. I had an endoscopy to see if I had celiac disease. They tested me for all sorts of autoimmune stuff. And yeah, nothing came back. So my understanding, or at least what I went through, is fibromyalgia is often kind of what they diagnose you with when they've ruled everything else out because
Mhm.
there's no blood test for fibromyalgia, and it does often have the similar symptoms for people, although it can show up in different ways. So 100% the pain is real. It is real physical pain. I think that it can be hard because there are people out there who would tell me or make me feel like it was all in my head. Like,
Right.
"Oh, this pain is just in your head." And I'm like, "Absolutely it is not. I feel shooting pain in my hands." And it got to the point where it even hurt me to hold Ted's hand. I was like not able to hold his hand because that caused me so much pain. And it was yeah, just extremely debilitating. Now, I can't say in your circumstance, I think that all of us are different. There are a lot of reasons why somebody could have chronic pain, and some of them have to do with things that are very much chemical, and some of them have more so to do with trauma. And for me, in my experience, it was about unresolved trauma, and it was about the environment that I was in with Ted and the amount of fear that I was in. So imagine you're in fight or flight all the time, which you could also have that if you suffered abuse as a kid. And if you haven't gone through like proper healing and that trauma is still living in your body, that is what my fibromyalgia was because it pretty much went away the second that I left Ted. So, which I mean, even just saying that is so crazy because I went to so many specialists. Like, I thought I had a parasite. I mean, I paid for so many expensive tests to try to figure out what was wrong. And for it to just disappear after I left him, it was crazy. So for me, it was about trauma. And I ended up reading a book called The Body Keeps a Score. It is absolutely amazing. It is okay. I didn't find it to be too sciency, but a lot of people do. Apparently, somebody has said that there's a different book that's a bit more accessible that some people like. I will have to go look at what it is because I
Okay.
don't know the name of it off the top of my head. But yeah, you can always like DM me or email me. I will find that book name for you. Believe that Samantha, who was on Healedish, the somatic therapist, she mentioned a bunch of those books that are good. But The Body Keeps the Score really just opened my eyes to the fact that there could be a psychological reason that is causing me physical pain. So it's not all in your head. It is
Yeah.
just trauma. So there's that. And then there's also another book that I read, which I love, and it is called Healing Back Pain. It's not super long. It is the way that I found it actually was I heard that Alan Rickman, I believe, had pain in his hand, like extreme pain in his hand. And then he read this book from this author of healing back pain. And after he read that, his pain in his hand went away. And he had even written something saying everybody should read this book if you have a chronic illness and to see if it helps. So the purpose of that is in it, the book, he talks about how this will often show up in people who are kind of tense and type A and kind of perfectionists. He said, I find that this condition, which he calls TMS, shows up in people who have those personalities, which is absolutely me. And basically, your body doesn't, or your mind doesn't want you to focus on the trauma of all of these unresolved things, and it's trying to protect you from that. So it will shoot off pain signals in
Mm.
a random body part to distract you so that you won't deal with your trauma. And what's so crazy is I experienced this even after I left TED. I had this crazy injury in my hip.
I
And
remember that too.
this was, guys, this is the craziest story. I wish I could shout it from the rooftops. If anybody has any like back pain, any random injury that you think should be healed by now, you guys have to read this book. I don't even know how I injured it. I think I stepped wrong. And then all of a sudden I had this horrible pain in my hip and it would not go away. And I was trying to train for a marathon and it totally ruined my marathon training.
Mhm.
And I rested for 6 weeks and it was still there and it wasn't getting any better. And
Wow.
in fact, it felt like it was growing. The
Yeah.
area of pain was growing. I think I took like 3 months off. I mean, it was horrible and it wouldn't heal. So I finally read this book because I was desperate. And by the time I finished that book, all of my pain was gone. And in it, he basically says, you need to tell your body this pain is not real. This is
Shit.
not a physical injury. He said one telltale sign of that, and this really helped me realize this, was if it should be healed by now and it's not, or if the pain doesn't make sense, if it's moving and
Mm.
shifting like it had kind of grown at certain points. And he said, you need to realize that when you break a bone, it heals
Uh,
pretty fast. Your body is meant to heal itself. So if it is not healing, that's a bit strange, especially
yeah.
if you didn't do something large to injure it, if it's just hurting. So I kept telling myself, this pain that I'm feeling is not a physical injury.
Mm.
And within, I think, 2 days, it was gone and I was back to
Shut
marathon
up.
training. No, disappeared.
I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
didn't I knew about
blew my
that
mind.
experience, but I didn't realize that that was how it was resolved.
Yeah.
That's
It went away.
crazy.
I just told myself this is not a physical injury, and he actually suggested to go run on it, which this is, that's a little controversial, but in it he said, "You putting yourself on bed rest only further convinces your mind that there is a real injury.
Whoa.
And what you need to do is just face it head on and say, I am not injured." So
Wow.
here I am with my hip. I was like, I'm going to go for a run. And I ran on my injured hip. And within 2 days of running on it, my pain was completely gone because I realized like it just went away.
That is
And
so wild.
yeah, it is an incredible book. Like
Mhm.
it's very highly respected and it helped me. So that's not exactly fibromyalgia, but to me, it feels very similar to where these emotions, these big feelings, the trauma that lives in our body can 100% create physical pain. And unfortunately, I know that I'm like that. I think with my personality type, I'm very prone to my mind tricking me into things. So since then, I had another injury in my foot during running that wouldn't go away. And I noticed that it was shifting from my heel to my toe, and it was shifting places in my foot. And I did the same Jedi mind trick of saying, this is not a real injury. And it also went away. So um, I would highly recommend reading those books, but the main thing that he says in Healing Back Pain is it's not enough to tell yourself that it's not a physical injury. You also need to confront the emotions. You need to go to therapy, you need to journal. And he said the whole point of the injury is to get you to not think about this. So you need to think about this.
Yeah.
You can't put it off and you have to face these emotions head on with a therapist,
If you
and
have access to
if you
that.
have access to
Yeah.
therapy or community, just talking about it, journaling, reading
Mhm.
books that are healing to your soul. And yeah, just give yourself grace because it might happen quickly where things get better and it might not. And also, huge disclaimer, like I said, I do believe that there are people who are diagnosed with fibromyalgia who have genuine medical conditions that just have not been discovered yet. So I'm not saying that my experience is everybody's experience.
Yeah.
There could be other things going on. And also fibromyalgia itself is valid. So I'm
Yeah.
not saying anything like that, but that was just my experience with trauma living in my body.
Yeah. I think I have nothing obviously to add to this because I've never experienced it. But I did just want to say that a book that I read about CPTSD really helped me through a lot of my trauma. Just if you're like looking to read books, it's called What My Bones Know by Stephanie Fu. And basically, the first part of the book is about it tells you the story of her trauma, basically growing up in her household and what her trauma looked like. It reads like a memoir. And then the second half is how that affected her, how she learned that she has CPTSD, and then what she did to heal from it. Life changing. That book was life changing for me. So if you are looking into reading books, that is the one that I recommend.
There also is one other thing that I wanted to say is there was another book that I read when I had fibromyalgia, and it's kind of a completely separate thought, but it's called How to Live Well with a Chronic Illness. And it
Mm.
was written by a woman who I think had fibromyalgia. I think that that's what she had, but it was very debilitating. She was bedbound. And the entire book is about how to find happiness despite being sick and
Cool.
just finding joy in the little things. And there's a lot of Buddhist principles in it. She's not Buddhist, but a lot of meditative kind of coping mechanisms with dealing with that. And I just highly recommend that as well to give you comfort in the meantime on your healing journey. Okay. Hey, internet friends.
Hey.
Hello. My favorite kind of friends. I went through a divorce 2 years ago, and on top of all of that trauma that comes with that, I watched the friends that I made over the past 5 to 6 years fall away. I came out of an abusive situation, and I think people just didn't know how to relate to me after that and possibly felt like I had been lying to them for years through my relationship. I originally cut my exes and I's mutual friends a lot of slack as they processed our separation and divorce, but I ultimately thought that they would come to a place of understanding. That didn't happen, and I only occasionally talked to one friend in the group of women that I thought that I was going to be raising my kids alongside. I'm now 33, remarried to an incredible man, and have three beautiful stepchildren, a house, and an amazing job that I love. My life is truly in a great place, but I'm friendless. I don't have anybody to talk to about life, and it's become so hard feeling like I'm on my own as we're trying to grow our family. Between all of the changes in the past 2 years, blended family drama, and trying to conceive, I don't feel like anything going on in my life is made for small talk, and I don't even know how to open conversation with new people. How do you casually get to know people after going through so much? Or is getting to know people just going to be a trauma dump by default?
Wow. First of all, congratulations on your new life. You fucking deserve it. And I think it's really difficult to lose the people that you thought you were going to spend your life with. That doesn't just mean your partner, like friends. So I'm getting emotional. Juby and I know a lot about that. We know a lot about the feeling of loss for different reasons, right? But loss in general, losing friendships is really hard, and people don't talk about it enough, how difficult it can be, life changing. I think I've even been avoiding some of the feelings of loss in some ways. And it's because they are your community and you just never imagined your life without them. And so let yourself grieve that. Let yourself feel the loss of these people. Don't be hard on yourself at what kind of emotions you have. Like if you're angry, sad, whatever it is. Really sorry. I'm really sorry that you've lost those people. Also, I feel like if you did lose them because you feel like they couldn't be there for you or support you through your divorce, they weren't your community and they aren't the community that's meant for you. You deserve people who are going to support you through all of the phases. I say that to Juby all of the time whenever we cry at game nights. It's like, thank you for being here for all of the phases of life because it's important to have someone that can
Yeah.
go through all of the things with you. That being said, advice about making new friends. Making friends, I think, in your adulthood is so hard. We've talked about this on the podcast, I think in the beginning stages of the podcast, how difficult it is to make friends when you're older. We all have lives. It's way busier. I think the reason it's easy to make friends when you're younger is because your whole life is like built around school and community and like everything's about friendship and it totally shifts. Especially when you have kids, you have 3 kids now, you're thrust into this life of parenthood, right? Congratulations. I know it's awesome, but also you're like, okay, how do I make friends? I think that, okay, Juby, you mentioned this. I was going to say things like going to or finding Facebook groups. There's a thing in our city. We live in San Antonio, Texas, and there's a thing in our city where this woman started specifically for women to find women friends. And I can't remember what it's called. It's called like, I don't know, like San Antonio Girl Power. I don't forget now. And they do events like once a month and they'll rent out like a bar for an
I
only,
literally just saw this. I
yeah.
had never heard of this before.
So like this month they're doing like Cheetah Girls theme. So they're
Yes,
doing
I
like,
saw this.
yeah, and so they're, like, all going somewhere and you, like it's gonna be Cheetah Girls music and, like, you dress up like Cheetah Girls. That's so cute, right? So anyway, there's things like that. If you look online, I don't know if it's gonna be exactly that, but there might be some resources that you don't know about. I heard about this thing on TikTok. I think my Luca sent it
Same.
to me. Yeah, Luca sent me and he was like, "You need to go to this." Because I want more girls. Like, I want more, like, community, like, friends to hang out with and go do stuff with. I think that'd be fun. I would like to do something like that with you, like, go to a
I
like
know,
that, yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think that there are ways, like Juby, you do puppy yoga. There are things like in this city where you can go make friends. I don't know how to make friends casually either. And so I've kind of the same way that I kind of went about dating when I met Luca is like, if you like me, then you're going to like all of me pretty much right out of the gate. I could tell you my whole life story and be really open. And you're talking about it being trauma dump by default. I mean, I do understand, but also like making friends, I'm kind of like cut through the bullshit. Like, let's get to know each other. Like, I'm looking for friends that I can go deep with, friends that can go there with me, that can talk about the hard stuff. And I'm not saying you meet someone and then I'm going to call them in my emergency moment the next week, but I'm saying just in the getting to know someone, I want to know the details. If I'm meeting a friend, I don't want to know what they think about the weather. I mean, that's great, but I want to know their hardships. I want to know what they're going through. I want to know what they've been through. I want to hear their story. And so if that's the kind of person that I am, those are the kinds of friends that I want for me as well. I want to be able to share and go deep like right off the bat. And that's kind of how I know if it's going to be a good friendship to begin with is if those people can have a conversation that feels deeper than just surface level stuff. So I don't believe in building casual friendships, but that's probably just because I'm in a place in my life where I don't want casual friendships. It's just not something that I want for myself. And so I think that there are ways to make friends, but you have to be intentional. You have to put yourself out there. You have to go to the get together. You have to go to the community event. You know, you have to go do the puppy yoga in the park or whatever it is. And if you meet people that when you share, they give you the deer in the headlights look like, oh, you're weird, they're not your people. Move on. Just pass it up because that's how I know. If I'm talking to someone and they look at me with their head tilted, like, meh, I'm like, okay, and you don't get it. And that's fine. We don't need to be friends. And I'm not going to take it personally. But I only want people that see my soul and that I see their soul. So I think I wish you lived here because we could hang out. We could all be friends. But yeah, it's really difficult to make friends. I'm really sorry that you've lost what you felt like is your community, but don't dim yourself and your life experiences to try to fit in and make friends based on what you really need and what you really want and build that community again. Find those people that you're going to be able to do life with because they do exist. There are amazing people in this world. We just have to put ourselves out there. It's just difficult when we haven't practiced that in a while. What do you
Oh,
think, Juby?
absolutely. Oh, it's so hard making friends as an adult. It's so nice when you have a job that lets you make friends because I
Mm,
feel like that's kind of the adult version of school. I mean,
yeah.
school was just built-in friendship pretty much. You spend so many hours with them, and people who work alone or I don't know, just don't have great coworkers, it sucks,
Yep.
because that's kind of one of the only ways that you make friends as an adult. I did want to say that I'm so sorry about how your friends reacted when you got divorced. I similarly experienced kind of like shocking distance
Mm,
during the divorce. I think some people didn't know if they should believe me. This is
mm,
actually crazy. I've never shared this before. So I had a friend, love her. She's great. Okay. But she told her husband, this guy was also friends with Ted. She told her husband what Ted did and that he was very abusive. And Ted even admitted it to this friend and was like, I did this to Juby. And he still didn't believe me. Like, he said, I just have such a hard time believing it. And my friend had to tell her husband, he admitted it to you. What do you mean? He came over and he sat on our couch and he cried and he said that he did this and all of this stuff. And he said, yeah, I just like have such a hard time believing that. It was, yeah, that was
wild.
so painful to hear
So
that.
what, you just, like, manipulated him into a false confession?
Apparently. Yeah.
Whoa.
So that was crazy. For me to realize, wow, even you hearing it from the abuser himself, you have a hard time believing what happened to me. And a lot of it was because I spoke so highly of him when we were together. But I think anybody who's been in an abusive marriage, a lot of the time you do that because you're trying to get people to like him because he's already so insecure and people like
Mhm.
don't like him and you're trying to talk him up because if you don't the abuse only gets worse and they get more insecure and they want to isolate you more. So, yeah, that was difficult, and seeing some of our mutual friends stay close with him and not reach out to me, that was
Yeah.
also so painful. So I'm so sorry that you have also experienced just feeling dropped in the
Yeah.
divorce. I think, man, that's why I'm always like, Kenzie, look at us. Look at us. We've survived 2 divorces.
We made it.
We made it, and divorce will really bring a lot out of people, and you kind of
Mhm.
figure out who is really in your corner. So, like Ken
Yeah.
said, well, apparently those were not your people. And also, oh, I remember what I was gonna say. Some people can take offense to the fact that you didn't confide in them.
Yeah.
This was very strange. I had somebody reach out to me and here I am like telling them what I've been going through the last 5 years and they were personally offended that I
How
had not
dare you?
confided. How dare you not tell me? I'm actually really hurt by that. And I'm like, okay.
Let me make this about me real quick.
I was like, well, I didn't tell anybody, but I'm sorry that you feel hurt that I didn't tell you what Ted was doing. So it's interesting how people
Mhm.
will find a way to make it that way, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but going back to finding friendships and trauma dumping, we're probably the worst or maybe the best people to ask about this because I feel like we're the queens of
Yeah.
trauma dumping. I mean, but those are the type of people that we are. We just enjoy talking about serious stuff. And I have surprisingly found that people find it refreshing.
Mhm.
They like it. When people come to our game nights and we all cry and we talk about our trauma and we talk about deconstruction and religion and our childhoods, friends who end up getting invited say, "Oh my gosh, that was so great. That
Yeah.
was so like healing and fun and like." And just want to say, we're not like total we play games, guys.
Yeah, it's
Okay?
not
So
the all we do.
it's like all we do is cry. No, this is after like a million rounds of imposter
Yeah,
and
and
other
karaoke and
yes.
yeah.
So we're very fun, I promise, but we balance it, with
Mhm.
us just being real because that's kind of who we are.
Mhm.
And I think that a lot of people actually enjoy that and some people don't, and that's okay too. They're just probably not going to be your people. One
Mhm.
thing I will say though is if what you're afraid of is being too heavy and like trauma dumping on people. I did have this one friend that I saw when I came back after everything with Ted. She knew what he had done. I like told her like he strangled me. It was horrible and I'm rebuilding my life and I'm so stressed out. This was probably a week or two after I left. So I am like rock bottom. I go over to her house the entire time, like 2 or 3 hours. She just vented about like how much she hated her grandpa and her family and how everybody sucks. And she asked me not one question about me. And I
Oh,
did feel trauma dumped on. I did feel,
yeah.
but it's because it wasn't reciprocated. I think as long as you're not just saying, here's everything that's going on in my life and I'm just so upset, and you make it all about you, I feel like that's the only way that you can really go wrong.
Good
As long
point.
yeah, as long as you're talking with them and asking, what does life look like for you, and actually being
Mhm.
interested, because there's nothing wrong with oversharing, but also we do need to make sure that we're creating that space for everybody and we're not just saying, I be a blank slate for all of my feelings. That way people they feel cared for. And I'm sure that you would have done that anyway, but that is just one thing I wanted to mention because I was trying to think, have I ever been turned off by somebody like trauma dumping?
Trauma
And that
dumping,
was
yeah.
the only circumstance that I ever felt that way. Cause I
Because
was
you
kind
didn't
of
feel
like,
cared about. Yeah.
yeah, I felt you know what I'm going through and I would gladly listen to the stuff that she was going through too, but the fact that there was like no care for
Yeah.
or like empathy for what I was going through, that was kind of painful.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm glad you brought that up because that didn't even cross my mind, but that's so real. I've experienced that where you're like,
Mhm.
I love to hear about you, but I feel like I was used. And
Yes.
it felt like you weren't there for anything reciprocal. It was just like, thank
Mhm.
you for your listening ear and like leave my house.
Yes. I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, thanks."
Yeah.
But there are people out there who love those sorts of things. Our friend Lizzie, she's great. And one of
Yeah.
the reasons I knew that, man, we're going to get along is it wasn't that long into knowing each other. I think she was like, we brought the let's get deep game. And we all just, I thought we were just going to have a game night. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, and it was couples edition. It was so
That's
much
cool.
fun. And just finding people who are into that sort of stuff. I
Yeah.
think there are a lot of people who are. So, trying to join groups, even if it's online at
Yeah.
first. I love my online community. There's definitely something to be said about it. But yeah, just getting out there, going to events, and there's probably something in your city.
Juby, you had a friend and I found one recently. It's an app that you can like I guess pay a subscription fee and then they match you with people in your area. Did I tell you about
No
this?
way.
I
No.
thought you knew about this. So basically, you pay a subscription fee and then you fill out a profile, almost like a dating profile, things you like, interests or whatever. And then they match you with people in your area and then they tell you, show up to dinner at this restaurant. Yeah,
Wait,
you've heard
yes,
of
I know
this.
what you're talking about. Yeah, my
Yeah.
friend started one here in San Antonio, but I do know there are things like that.
Yeah. So I don't know if you have anything like that, but just do a little. Basically, what I was saying is there could be so many resources that we don't even know about, but just do a little research, do a little internet digging and see what's available in your area, like the Meetup app. And then you can join groups based on your interests there as well. And people will just meet up at a park or there's like a group that I was thinking about joining of women who walk with their kids because I'm a nanny. And I was like, well, it's not my kid, but also I could take him for a walk with all these moms, stay at home moms and just hang. So, yeah, I'm sure there are things
And
you
you
just have
are
to
a
look for
mom.
it. I am a mom. Yeah, I am a mom. So, yeah, but good luck on your search for friends. We know it's not easy, and we are sorry that you've lost what you felt was your community or your long term community. But have hope because I think you're going to find some people that
I do.
are perfect for you in this phase of your life for sure.
Definitely. All right, are you ready to jump into our overshare moment?
Yes, you have to go first because I'm dying to know.
So the other night, I was recording a podcast with somebody and I was trying to keep her busy. So I had got this thing off of Amazon because here I am trying to be a great pet parent and I like totally fail, right? So I decide to get a slow feeder off of Amazon and I accidentally bought one for cats. So in my
Okay.
mind, I was just like, oh, It's just a cat. So it's a bowl like this, and it has ridges on it so that they eat slower, and then there were these little cat ears on it,
Mhm.
and it's a silicone feeding thing. So it came in the mail, I realized it was for cats, and I was like, "Oh, well, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just not shaped like a dog, who cares?" So I'm recording. I'm trying to keep her busy, so I have all of her toys in there, and then I feed her, and I put it on the slow feeder. And yeah, I recorded my podcast. Then Brandon and I decided let's go out to eat. So we went out to Outback. We put her in her crate while we went. We came back, and then all of a sudden, I see the slow feeder on the floor, and she has eaten
No.
it. Not
No.
not all of it, but she ate the ear off the slow feeder and consumed them because I
No.
could not find it anywhere. And she had also eaten like some of the ridges of the plate as well. So I'm panicking. And thankfully, the slow feeder that we got had two in it. So I could see, compare, like, how much of this
How
thing
much
did
was
she
eaten?
eat? We even weighed it. We weighed it to see like how many grams of silicone did my
Oh.
puppy eat. And my heart just dropped, and this was at 11:30 at night on a
Judy.
Friday.
Oh my god.
I was like, "What do I do?" So we asked ChatGPT, and Chat was like, "Go to the ER with her." So that was very scary, and we got her in the car. It's pouring rain. We're on the way there, and I'm not sure. I mean, she's acting totally normal though. Like she's
Yeah.
acting totally fine, happy, and she's like, "Where are we going?"
Going on a
So
trip.
yeah, going on a trip. And we had actually just been there because my sister's cat had eaten 27 pills a
Ugh.
few weeks ago. Thankfully, her cat lived. Thank God. That was one of the scariest few days of my life. And yeah, so thankfully I knew of this vet hospital that was 24 hours because I'd just been there. So we took her there, and yeah, I don't know. They touched her tummy. We showed them the slow feeder, and they basically said that they thought that she was probably going to be okay.
Oh.
So we were kind of faced with, and guys, don't judge me. I asked a lot of questions to make sure I wasn't being negligent, but we paid for the fee, and we're also in debt, guys. We're trying to get out of debt.
Yeah.
So we're there, and Indy's so happy. She's not acting weird. She's not throwing up. She's still hungry. And the vet was like, "Well, maybe we could do x-rays."
Uh-huh.
And that would have been like $650.
Yeah. Of course they wanna do X-rays.
Yeah, so we could do x-rays, and it's recommended, she said. And I was like, "Oh,
Mhm.
it's recommended." And I would have paid it, but then she said, "But there's a good chance that we're not going to be able to see the silicone. Silicone doesn't really show up on the x-ray, but if it's big enough, we might be able to see it." And I said, "Okay, well, if you see it, then
What do you do?
And then she was like, "Well, we would see how she does over the next couple days and see if it passes." So to me, I'm thinking, well, the prescription is the same, that we're
Yeah.
just going to like see if it passes. We would just know or not know if this is a big deal or not. So the big fear is that maybe the ears were consumed whole. That would be
Yeah.
the problem, but we think she ate it in chunks.
Yeah.
So, not to be too TMI, but some has made its way out. We are hopeful that the rest
On its
is
way.
also on its way. So that's why I'm like, we'll see if she's okay. I mean, we're monitoring her. She's super happy, eating,
Yeah.
drinking, hasn't thrown up. So I think it's okay.
I think she's okay. I would have
Yeah.
done the same thing. I would not have gotten the X-ray.
Yeah.
No.
Especially if it wasn't going to show up. That was the thing.
Yeah.
She said it may not show up, and the prescription is the same of
Yeah.
go home, give her water, give her carbs,
Yeah.
and
I would
stuff
say it
like
would be
that.
different if they were like, "Well, if we see it in there, we're gonna do surgery." I'd be like, "Okay, well, then maybe we should do it." But if they're just
Yeah.
gonna send her home, then you'll know over the next 2 days if she's not doing well that you need to take her back in.
Yeah. So I did end up bottom line asking her because she left the room so we could talk. And I wrote down a list of questions, and I said, "Is it morally wrong to not do it?"
Yeah.
No. And she said, "No, it's not morally wrong." She said it's not negligent. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
Because I just didn't want to be like, I'm so cheap that I'm not willing to pay
No.
for this,
Yeah.
because I would if it was necessary. But she was also kind of saying, "Oh, I don't think that amount would do
Do too much damage.
that much." So Now we are just watching her very intently. She's so cute though, and
I love her.
I it was such a moment of being so thankful for who I've chosen for my life partner
Mhm.
because we are on the way there and I'm freaking out because it's
Yeah.
raining and it's late at night and I'm just tired and scared that something horrible is going to happen to her. And this guy over here, he's driving and he's smiling and laughing. And I was like, "Why are you laughing? This is not funny." And he said, "It's kind of a memory. It's kind of a memory." I said, "Brandon, it's like I'm so stressed out." He said, "I know, but if she needs surgery, we'll pay for it and she'll be fine." He said, "Either way, she's gonna live and it's a story." He
Uh,
said, "This is kind of funny." And I was like, "I don't think this is funny at all," but so
That's
he is
cool.
just sunshine.
Always.
And now I look back and I'm like,
It
that
was
was
kind of
kind
a
of
memory.
funny."
Like, wait, you're right. 'Cause everything's
Right.
fine. Oh my gosh. Wow, well, I'm so glad she's okay. What's up with the animal stories lately? I feel like there's so much stuff going on with the animals. I hate it.
Oh, yeah, I'm getting pet insurance now because I didn't have it, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
"Just watch, we're gonna have to do this crazy surgery," but I don't wanna feel
Yeah.
like that again, so I'm gonna get pet
Do it.
insurance for her.
Yeah. I'm so glad she's okay. I love her.
I know, she's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, and she knows how to sit.
Stop.
I taught her how to sit, and it's so funny because she hates it because she wouldn't sit at first. So, I did the thing where you kind of put your hand on their butt to like make it
Uh-huh.
sit down, and I give her a treat, I praise her, and it got to the point where every time I would say sit, she would like move her butt away
She's
from
like, "Don't
me.
touch me."
Don't touch me. And she would like walk away and like side eye me, like, don't touch
She's
me.
smart.
She's so smart. So
Oh, no.
I wasn't sure if she knew what sit meant, but I read that you should do it before you feed them. That way they're hungry and that way they
Okay.
want the treats. So I asked her to sit and she like is looking at me with eyes of being so annoyed. And after like 15 seconds, she like reluctantly sit and she did it 5 times in a row. So she definitely
She
knows it.
knows.
She knows it, but she's annoyed. Like
That's kinda funny.
she doesn't want to do but I'm like, "You need to learn things. Your breed is
Yeah.
so smart."
Yes. Yeah, it would be wasted on her if you didn't teach her all of the things,
I
'cause she's
know.
so smart.
I'm
That's
obsessed with
cool.
her.
She's
Mhm.
cute. I love her.
What about you, Kenzie?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Overshare. What do I have to overshare? Okay, I'll overshare. This is stupid.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna talk about TikTok because that's the news in my life right now. Okay, so I started my TikTok platform back in 2020 when so many of us did, right? Back in the dancing days of COVID when we are all just surviving on TikTok. That's when I started my page. And I grew my account to about 90,000 followers. And then I made a post, a political post back in November of last year, and got my account taken down or like shut down because of how many people who were angry about that post and then reported my account, like spam reported my account, were just going and reporting all of my videos. And so
Well,
basically,
we have to say what it was. It was hilarious. There was a girl who wrote a worship song about Trump. Like it
yeah,
was Trump is going to be here to save us. And
yeah,
she was being so for real. So
oh yeah,
Kenzie stitched it and was like, "Oh my gosh, this worship song." And I don't know. It was funny and your
yeah,
video did really well
yeah,
and people saw it. But unfortunately, that girl, so that MAGA singer, has a lot of followers.
yeah.
So they ended up coming and reporting your account like in masses.
Yeah, this guy, he actually, like, ended up messaging me, and he was like, "I am called the sniper for a reason, and I'm going to take you down." And he did. He, like, single-handedly got well, not I guess not single-handedly, but
Yeah.
they got their group of people together, um, and spammed my account, and I don't know that I ever told you this, but she actually ended up DMing me and apologizing to me.
No
Did I tell you
way.
this? Yeah, I did not
No.
respond because I was, like, unforgiven. I do not forgive you. But yeah,
Yeah.
she was like, "Hey, I just feel like things got out of hand with this video thing, and, like, I just wanted to say, no hard feelings, and, like, I'm sorry," or whatever, and I was just like, "Yeah, no, fuck you." I didn't say anything, I just didn't respond. But,
Yeah.
yeah, I get that I made a response to her video basically talking about how I think I was talking about how like Christian nationalism is culty, maybe is kind of like the
Yeah.
vibe of what I was talking about. It pissed her off and all of her fans. So yeah, I lost my ability to monetize first, and then I lost my ability to like post videos because I was posting videos and then they were just every video I was posting was just being taken down. So I was like, okay, my account is nothing. So I started a new account. I think I got that account up to like 20, 12,
Yeah.
20,000 followers. I don't know, 19. I don't even remember at this point. It was, I don't even know. But it was growing, and it took me about a year to get to that point. It's almost been a year, and then my account got hacked, and I can't access it, and TikTok can't help me access it. So it's gone, like, it's lost. They deleted all of my videos off of it, and it's just, like, this random guy who, like, is his name's Calvin, and he just took my account. So,
It's
I was like,
horrible. My worst
"This."
nightmare.
Yeah, I was like, "This really freaking sucks." And so I went back to my old account, which I had typically I had done periodically throughout the year. I would just go and, like, try to post something to see if it would land or if it would post and, like, if I could get my account back. And every single time it would get flagged and taken down. So I was like, "Okay, I guess this is just a lost cause." So I deactivated it. Well, when I lost my new account, I was like, "This sucks. I don't wanna have to start again, like, start all over." So I went back one more time to my old account, reactivated it, and posted, and it worked. It worked. I was nervous about it because I was like, "I wonder if an account that has been dead for so long, if it'll have a hard time gaining traction and, like, rebuilding a community and getting those videos pushed out." Like, I didn't know how TikTok would respond to me going back to that account, but my videos are getting pushed out. I've gained, like, 2,000 followers over the last couple days, so I'm like, "Okay, so
Nice.
it is there," which is it's encouraging to me because I would prefer to be back in that community and build from that space already because it's what I had done for 5 years, so it's
Yeah.
kinda cool. I will say that um, I almost got nervous to say this because my brain's like, "You're on TikTok. They're gonna flag this video," but it's podcast, so I can say it.
Yes.
TikTok is paying so shitty right now, it's ridiculous. Like, my videos I should be making more off of them, and so I'm, like, a little bit peeved about that. Because guys, if you don't know this, like, we love social media, but also it is work, to post videos all the time, and I think that the there is a benefit to making money off of the time that you spend on social media. And so I was like, this is great. Like, I'm going to be able to monetize again after all this injustice has been done against me, and I'm going to monetize. And then I'm looking at these videos and I'm like, oh, my RPM is like cents. So I feel like that's kind of frustrating.
I know, same. Mine
Yeah.
has dropped so much.
Yeah.
The downside of TikTok,
Yeah.
they don't pay very well.
Anymore.
Anymore, they used to pay really good, and
Yeah.
then they, like, dropped it. I think on okay, we'll stop talking about it after this, but, I mean, on a video, my Rapture video that was 1.1 million views or something,
Mhm.
I got paid, like, 200 bucks, probably,
So
which, I
crazy.
mean, just so you guys know, in the past, I would have been paid probably, like, $1,100 for that or
Yeah.
something. I mean, it just they used to pay a lot better, and what I've noticed is or at least for me, or maybe it's just TikTok in general, I don't know, but they used to pay me a lot more when I first started, and I think it's because they're trying to get newer creators to post,
Mhm.
and then I feel like the more followers I've gotten, the less I get paid.
So
So,
wild.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess the hope is, like, brand deals at that point, right? But then it's, like, more work. Anyway, yeah, so this is so stupid that this is my overshare, but it's not that stupid because I care about it. So
Yes, it's stupid.
I
Of
care
course
about
you
it.
care about it.
Yeah, it's income. No, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's like I would love to I have a full-time job. Like, I work, you work, we work. This is income that we would like to build on the side, and it's also something that we would like to move the needle for our family in a different direction, have some pay down some debt, be able to buy a home one day. Like,
Yeah.
the American dream, work your ass off and never not work, and maybe you'll be able to buy a house. Like, that's how it feels. And so it's like this is just, you know, it's of course in a perfect world I'd be able to quit my job and like survive off podcasts and social media, and this is what we love. We want to do online community, and we have all these lofty dreams, you guys, of like doing live podcasts and getting to meet you face to face and having community events, and like my vision
I
board's like,
love
you're gonna
that.
have a talk show, it's gonna be great. And I'm like, but in real life, if I could just make $2,000 pay my rent, that would be amazing. That's really
Amazing.
so, yeah,
Keeping
that's
the
my
dream
overshare.
alive.
Yeah, I mean, we're literally struggling so much right now financially because we've had I'm not gonna really talk about why, but we had a massive financial shift in our lives that there's just nothing we can do about it. It was just, like, a really big thing that happened financially, a huge, huge hit, life-changing, completely life-changing and not exaggerating that, and so we're just I mean, even today when I get off the recording and we go do the rest of our day, I mean, we have to sit down and look at our lives and be like, "What days can we pick up extra jobs? How are we gonna make extra money?" And so that's why this is important to me because it's like, you know, we have to find ways and we have a family and we don't have there are only so many hours in a day,
Mhm.
and so that's just where we're at. That's the reality of our lives right now is we're gonna have to figure out how to get jobs on the weekends to survive, and that's freaking crazy that I'm 32 and we work so hard and we're in this place, and I know it's not just us. I mean, this isn't like feel bad for me. This is just the reality of so many people right now is that you
Absolutely.
work full-time jobs and it's not enough, and that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to support us,
Yeah.
we have we are not asking for it for free. We are giving you bonus content. So if you want to go to our Patreon, we are doing bonus stories over there and they are Reddit stories. So we
Yay!
had gone and thought maybe we were going to do advice stuff on
Mhm.
there, but we really don't want to put advice behind a paywall. That just
Yeah.
feels kind of like meh, you know? So we thought a very fun way would be to react and give our takes on some of these Reddit stories. And honestly, it is so much fun because these
Yeah.
stories are unhinged and we have so many to choose from. So, yeah, if you guys could, it would mean the world to us if you made your way to Patreon. You get 3 bonus stories a month. And yeah, that would just be a big way to help us as we
Yeah.
continue to grow the podcast.
Yeah, and it's only $5. $5 for the 3 extra stories a month.
$5.
Yeah. We love you guys so much. Thank you for hanging out with us. This is the best. We're obsessed with you. Also, if you want to leave a review, a good one, would help us out so much. And we love when you guys comment. So keep commenting. And oh, if you need advice, please go to the form in our social media. It's linked in our link tree and on Instagram. And you can fill out that form and ask your question. It can be outright advice or just sharing a situation that's going on in your life that you want our take on. Anything at all. It doesn't have to be anything specific, whatever is on your heart, whatever's going on in your life. And we would love to read them and share them on the pod.
All right. Well, we will see you guys next week for another episode of the Overshare Hour.
Love ya.
Bye.
Bye.